I read Gordon Darcy's article this morning, and he quoted Shane Lowry saying, lots of people will guide you up to the top of the mountain or the top of Everest, but there's not many people that will guide you on the way back down. And as we both know, unfortunately, the majority of people die on the way back down. So without getting too morbid, this Irish team reached a new height by beating the world champions in a World Cup. It's without doubt Ireland's biggest ever win in a World Cup. What's different about this Irish team versus the one I played in 2015? This team has tasted success multiple times over the last 4 years, and each time they've tasted success, it's driven them on to be even better. It's made them hungrier for more success. And, I just can't see Scotland getting in the way of that in 2 weeks' time. I think what's very special about this Irish team is that we have so many different ways to beat a team. And we saw that against South Africa at the weekend. We took them on in an arm wrestle and we beat them. When we come up against Scotland, and it's no secret that they play wide. We're going to have a game plan that's going to make Scotland attack come unstuck, and then we're going to enforce our attack on them. And that's what has me so excited about this Irish team is that even 20 minutes, 30 minutes into a game, this team has the ability to change game plans on the hop within it. And like the team I played in 2015 didn't have that ability. Now I know the game has moved on, but having the likes of Johnny Sexton, Peter Mahoney, these guys who are real tacticians and have the ability to realize that something's not working, change it within a game. And then the biggest challenge is getting 15 guys on the same page. This team can do it. You wouldn't recognize or realize that he's been out for 5 months or 6 months as it was. He's come back in. I know, look, the Romania game was what it was, but he looked really sharp. He looked even better against Tonga. And then, you're thrown into an absolute cauldron against South Africa. And, it's no secret they were trying to target him, like, albeit, it was legal, but he shipped a lot of late hits. And look, it was great to see him bounce up really quickly. He made some huge defensive plays in that game. He had one phase in particular where I think he made 3 tackles in the same passage of play. Now, I'd say he was feeling it after the game, like all the Irish players were. And it'd be interesting to see if they decide to start him again against Scotland. Maybe giving him maybe play him off the bench or give him a refresher leading into the quarterfinal might be no harm. But for me, looking at him, he looks as fit as ever. He's moving well. And the biggest thing for me is he's playing with a smile on his face. Looks like he's really enjoying it out there. What's key with the Scottish game is that we've built momentum into this competition in a really nice way. Played well against Romania and Tonga, and then pulled out a really, really good performance against South Africa. You don't want to go into the Scottish game, come out of the Scottish game and lose momentum going into the quarterfinal. Regarding selection, it's very hard from the outside looking in because we don't know what players have picked up, bumps and bruises or tight back or tight hamstring within the camp. And then there is also the factor of age profile within the squad. We've mentioned Johnny. Someone like Peter O'Mahony, is 34. He's playing brilliantly well. They look to freshen him up. And then there's the wider squad of what if we get an injury later on and such and such hasn't played for 4 or 5 weeks. So someone like Jack Conan, who hasn't been fit, I'd expect to come back into the 23. I think it's crucial to get him game time, having not played. Bundy Aki has been our best player. Do we look to start him again, or do you look to bring in someone like Stu McCluskey? Or maybe you start Robbie Henshaw and Stu McCluskey, give Gary and Bundy a rest. So yeah, look, there's some interesting conversations to be had there. Porter is another one who's been playing really well, and like we asked him to go to the World weekend, putting in 70 plus minutes. Are we going to ask him to do that again for Scotland, rolling into most likely New Zealand? Maybe, but there's able replacements there to come in. So I think it's really walking that tightrope between being able to rotate the squad, freshen guys up, ensure that you're covering yourself if you do get an injury later on in the competition, but also like not disrespecting Scotland. Scotland are a brilliant side in their own right, and you know, if we don't pull out a good performance, they have the potential of you know, beating us themselves. You know, for me, I look at him, he just looks like a winner. You know, even winning the URC with Munster, you know, the way he did that and dropping the goal against Leinster, he just strikes me as the kind of guy who takes the game by the scruff of the neck. He's not afraid to lose it, but you know, he's very much willing to hold his hand up and go, look, I'm willing to take this shot. I'm willing to throw this pass. If it doesn't work out, I'll be responsible. But if it does, you know, I'll be the one that carries us to a win. And, you know, the way he came on at the weekend, he'd one clearance kick in particular that he must have kicked it, you know, 60, 70 meters. He was brave enough to step up and go for the drop goal. And the outcome of that attempted drop goal ended up in 3 points. So, look, it might have been a small bit lucky, but you know, you've got to take your luck, you know, as it comes. So yeah, look, and the big thing for Jack is that he can cover the centre. He's a big, strong lad. He can cover fullback. He's played there plenty. So having him on the bench gives you, you know, the option of having more of a kind of either an out and out winger or a utility player alongside him, and it gives you great, you know, flexibility. You look at Gary getting injured at the weekend. If you didn't have Jack there, could you have Robbie on the bench as well? Possibly not. So. Yeah, look, he's kind of shoehorned himself into that 22 slot. If Johnny did get injured, would Ross still come in and start with his experience? Yeah, possibly would. But, you know, I think Jack is definitely closing the gap on that conversation as well. And when Johnny does move away post the World Cup, it's going to be a great battle. But he's certainly someone who's putting his hand up at the moment.